conversation, imaginations of the everlasting strangers, complaining of the crimes, protesting sighs beyond their non-peculiar ties. Women's rights are misogyny revived, a brand of slavery just newly contrived. But I hold no opinion of new Confederates losing battles to new unions, or new religions slaying children for dominion. Let me just concentrate on making my first million. Let me not realize what I could have foreseen, that I could have been, what I could have been.
Eron is a talent. He's a singer, songwriter, poet.
They had a world contest for poetry on the internet, and he won, the son of a bitch.
He has a really, really distinctive kind of voice. I mean, he can come on the radio anywhere and you can tell that's Eron, you know, singing that song.
He's a talented guy. I think he's got a lot of, he's got one foot sort of in history. A lot of what he does is steeped in that, but yet it has a really modern thing to it also.
Eron's project is a good project. There's a lot of rawness in it. It's real fresh sounding. Really like his lyrics. He's got a lot to say. He's a deep thinker.
Cohen, Dylan, and Simon. That's the only three artists he ever cared about. And that's how he writes.
So his poetry is kind of, it's like in between Dylan and his own style.
He borrows from, honors, whatever you want to call it, a lot of different styles of music.
I dig the bands like the Beatles and the 60s, Spencer Davis Group, the Zombies, Kings, The Who, all of that stuff, the British Invasion, I really like that. And also 50s rockabilly. When I'm writing music, when I'm composing my own stuff, I draw basically only from poetry, you know? Only from the fact that I was born a writer, and what I am is a writer and not a musician. I just got into music because that's a medium that that really augments what is written. I think writing an album would be the same as writing a novel. So writing an album, you always have to have a certain theme behind an album. Even if it's just a collection of songs, there's a reason why you chose those songs to be in that album, so there's a soul to that album. So sweet, tanned with a complexion so fair, and I cannot let the rain fall. What I Could Have Been is a song about exactly that, what I could have been. Each verse has a theme that I chose of a part of my life. For example, the first verse I talk about sort of pseudo-intellectuals and how when I was really young I sort of admired certain what I consider to be pseudo-intellectuals nowadays. So I talk about that, how I really identified with that, and now I don't really care, you know, I don't want to have an opinion about everything. And then like the second verse is about the military, and I always wanted to be a warrior or whatever, and then I say in a bit of the song, but then I wanted to be a general at the age of 20, you know. I didn't want to wait until I was 50 to conquer the world. I wanted siege upon protections of a city, become a general before the age of 20. Oh, what a pity. I couldn't realize, I should have foreseen what I could have been, what I could. It took me, I think, like a couple of years to find Bob Johnson's contact, and I came by his son's telephone number, in a company that his son was working with, just by complete accident in an internet forum that I was participating in. And I just basically cold called him and sent my stuff in, and he said he really liked my stuff, showed it to his wife and stuff, and I couldn't believe it in the beginning because I had been looking for him for such a long time. But everything worked out, and now I'm here.
Bob is such a great producer, and he seems to always come out with something that's out of left field but really adds a lot, or really maybe makes everything else make sense.
I'm called a record producer in music, but I'm not really. I'm the biggest fan in the world, and that's what happened. That's why I'm successful, because I believed in everything and I loved everybody I ever did. Never worked for anybody I didn't like. I always had two masters, God and Johnny Cash or Bob Dylan.
Bob is a character. He's definitely a character, but he's recorded all of my favorite songs and all the people that influenced me, and so it's a kind of iconic, epic kind of feeling all the time. It's really surreal, and he's like a crazy old man.
I always liked Bob Johnson, not only because he recorded with my old heroes, but also because he's sort of spontaneous. He lets destiny take the product, the finished product, to a place that nobody could have ever imagined, because there's no thought, there's not one thought behind it. It's a conglomeration of thoughts. He says whatever comes to his mind, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're gonna have to show him what he wants, what came up in his mind. No matter how crazy it is, he's gonna have to hear it, either to see that it's crazy or to see that it's genius. You know. Working with Bob and Natalie, that's a privilege, really, because, like you said, Bob is only working with me and Natalie, and I got to meet Natalie, and we're getting along really great, and she's helping me out with the music stuff that she's got down. She's a great musician. I'm not a musician, like I said. I don't consider myself a musician, so her input is really important, and it's been taking the music to different directions that maybe only an artist like herself could take it, you know, because everybody else is a producer or an engineer or a session man. You know, she's a young artist trying to make it like everybody else. So she understands certain things. You know, that's been really important for me, just to make me feel more at home. You know, I'm not up against everybody else. I got a buddy.
We could try to go in and write a bass part and then write a drum part, and of course they could just read it, but I mean, they hear things and they have such years of experience that they can just appreciate it and develop it in a way that we're definitely not capable of, not playing those instruments.
So I put together some of the best musicians, not Nashville musicians, some of the best musicians, and got them in here.
We all just kind of pitched in a little bit. It's funny because I've never arranged anyone else's stuff except my own, and so, like, you know, when you're doing that, then you have a clear, you know, you see how it's supposed to, you know, be and turn out, and then you hear it, and so you know exactly what you're doing. With Eron, it's difficult because, you know, I don't know how he wants it, but Shane Keister was here too. He's one of the best arrangers in the world, and so we all just kind of like pitched in little ideas, and it's coming together really well.
The guys on this record, we work together a pretty good bit. We do mostly country artists, and you know, a lot of what we do is really formula based. But with Eron, and also especially with Bob producing, it's really kind of a whole different thing the way we did this record. A lot of collaboration, a lot of trying different things, coming back around.
Paul and David and Carrie and I work a lot together anyway, but those guys are tremendous players. They just, you know, they're at the top of their game, and literally some of the best players in the world.
Your defense is the fence that our sense will commence to collapse. When I put on the mask that you've taught us all to wear, without words you'll be at last with that innocent stare. You'll still pretend.
In the beginning of this year, I was trying to figure out where I was going to move to sort of set up my camp, my headquarters, where I would start my recording career from. And I chose London because I remember I went to Los Angeles. I'm not going to say why I didn't choose Los Angeles. I'm just going to say I didn't. And I went to New York, and I tried to just go to the theater. I wanted to see Shakespeare. You know, I was just sitting there in my friend's apartment in New York, and I just felt like seeing Shakespeare, and I couldn't really find anything. I couldn't find Shakespeare in the theater, man, and that really kind of annoyed me. You know, New York's supposed to have everything. After New York, I went to London, and my brother was living there already too, and you know, I found Shakespeare, and I found Oscar Wilde. I found all these different choices of things that you could just go watch if you feel like it, whenever you feel like it. And that was one of the reasons why I chose London. And also because rock in England is mainstream, you know, and it's not anywhere else in the world. Not one place in the world is it mainstream. You know, America, you got hip hop and pop and whatever, which is cool, but it's not rock. And in England, rock is mainstream. You know, you see posh people, you see spoiled kids, you know, boogieing to rock and roll, man. That's beautiful.
He's not trying to write hit singles or anything. It's just kind of turning out that way. He's just doing his own kind of thing, and it's this cool. I don't know how they're gonna categorize it eventually, but he's just doing his own kind of style, and I think it's really cool, and I think it's gonna fit in nicely. People are gonna like it. I like it.
He's a really talented guy. He's got a great attitude, and he's very creative. And he doesn't feel restrained at all.
I try not to identify. I try not to do one thing or imagine that I'm going to be something in the future. Because if I do, I'm just manipulating. I'm limiting myself from all the other things that I could be, you know, that I could actually become, and that I have no imagination even to access. So that's what I ask of myself, and I just think it's inevitable that it'll happen to everybody else. That what we expect is not going to happen, and that's not bad. That's beautiful, man. You know, we're gonna see new things in the future.
Instead of a bum, which is what I am, let's face it,